Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS, authentic, real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
3, 2, 1, and we are back. One of the questions we get frequently is obviously about real estate coaching. A lot of people are getting into the industry, and Julie and I are definitely seeing signs that there's going to be an absolute surge of agents entering into the market over the next 6 to 12 months. You know, it's actually funny, Julie. I read a report recently that they're expecting there to be a huge baby boom that hasn't been experienced or seen since after World War II.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're expecting there to be another baby boom that's going to create more humans than even the baby boomers or the millennials.
That's amazing.
It is, and it's all about demographics, and it's all about the fact that there's so many people in their early 30s and they're getting married, and, you know, generally speaking, that is followed by people making humans.
Plus, there was 2 years of lockdown. You know, it's probably a little bit related to COVID.
Yeah, what are you going to do during lockdown? I don't know.
Who knows?
I mean, there's only so much you can buy from Amazon. Let's make a kid.
Exactly.
Well, so here's what we're focused on is the fact that real estate coaching is something a lot of people are interested in, a lot of people asking us questions about, and frankly, there's a lot of confusion about what exactly a real estate coach does and how to go about hiring a real estate coach. So what we're going to be doing is going through, I think there's 5 points that we're going to share with you today, and we're going to give you some actual drilled down, hopefully very useful information on how you can hire a real estate coach. Now, a real estate coach is going to be something that all of you need to consider if you want to fast track your success in real estate. And really the best way to encapsulate why you want to hire someone to help you when you're trying to perfect a specific skill is that, you know, there's an old, I believe it's a Chinese proverb that says, a smart man learns from his mistakes and a brilliant man learns from the mistakes of others. And when you hire the right coach, someone that's actually been there, done that, and has frankly, the battle scars to prove it, you're going to save yourself an enormous amount of time and effort and usually money. So yes, we're going to be focusing on how to go about hiring a real estate coach, starting with point #1, Julie Harris.
Point #1, coaching is not the same as training. Training is when someone, like your broker, team leader, or office manager maybe, tells you to do something or to try something, and then you're left alone to figure it out. So some examples of that would be training. You need more leads. Maybe you should try buying some. That's what some agents do. That's more of a training thing. Or try an open house. Sometimes that can work. Versus coaching, which goes more like this. Let's discuss the different types of lead sources, what the ratios are in terms of contacts versus appointments, and what it costs in terms of time and money, and then formulate your spokes on the wheel plan. Let's also take a look at your skills, your strengths, and formulate an actual plan, a schedule, and specific goals so that you'll be able to tell if you're on track, ahead, or behind.
So drilling down on that, the essence of it is that every single one of you are in real estate or coming into real estate, and you have a different set of skills. You have a different, matter of fact, some of you are going to be very brilliant salespeople because of your backgrounds, while others of you have never sold anything to anyone ever. So the different strengths and weaknesses all of you have mean that all of you are going to be wanting to focus on different spokes, and that you are focused on lead generation on this first point. A spoke on the wheel is essentially a source of business that you are going to build over a period of time that's going to create a very predictable, duplicatable lead generation, wheel. And the wheel is going to ultimately have 5 to 7 spokes, and those 5 to 7 spokes are going to provide leads for you on a regular, consistent basis. Because really, leads are obviously the lifeblood of any business, but especially a real estate business. So every single one of you are going to have a personalized approach to what works for you and what, frankly, won't. Some of you will never pick up the phone and prospect. Some of you will never, ever, frankly, do any sort of online lead generation through videos and whatnot. A coach is going to help you understand what your strengths and weaknesses are and then truly drill down on what those specific attributes that you have are. And, if you absolutely are incredibly opposed to ever creating any kind of video content for social media, and it just absolutely makes your skin crawl, but you are super good at, frankly, face-to-face, belly-to-belly, voice-to-voice contact, well, a great coach is going to really, frankly, not even waste time trying to get you to do something you won't do. They're going to try to make you really, really, really good at what you will do. And that's a difference between coaching and training, one of the many differences.
Huge difference. Okay, point #2. Coaching is educating you about something, showing you how to do it, helping you to find any tools necessary to accomplish the goal, and holding you accountable for the results. For example, perhaps you're not pursuing expired listings right now because you just don't know where to get the phone numbers. You don't know what to say, that's a scripting issue, how to handle objections, and how to close for the appointment. So coaching closes that gap for you.
That's right. And so again, we're looking at, some of you are stumbling across coaches on YouTube and they're calling themselves coaches. Have you ever asked yourself, why is it that someone feels comfortable calling themselves a coach? What really has to happen before someone's allowed to give themselves the title of a real estate coach? More importantly, you as a consumer of real estate coaching, how is it that you're going to go about deciding who is and who isn't really a qualified coach? And then once you know the answers to these 4 questions I'm going to give you right now, then after that, frankly, you're going to be able to make a very informed decision. So this is the essence of today's presentation. I want you to write these 4 questions down. And you can apply this to anything in life, anything when you're hiring anybody. So when you're deciding who you're going to hire to be your real estate coach, I want you to use these 4 questions. And these are incredibly important. And it is funny because I've shared these on the podcast before. And I know for a fact that some of these YouTube coaches don't even meet any of these criteria, and they really dislike the fact that we're making you guys informed consumers of real estate coaching, opposed to just blindly following anyone that calls themselves a coach. And go us for doing that, because that means that you're going to make a better decision. All right, so the first question you need to ask your hypothetical, person that's purporting themselves to be a real estate coach is, have you, and let's call the real estate coach Bob, of course, right?
Of course.
Bob,
Bob.
Exactly, right. Bob, have you had a real estate license? Have you actually ever sold real estate? Now, I will make the assumption that all of you understand the importance of actually having somebody who actually sold real estate be your real estate coach, because after all, if they didn't actually sell real estate, honestly, how the hell can they be a real estate coach? Well, I'm going to share something with you right now. There are several, I would say, well-known real estate coaches, I'm air quoting now, who have never sold real estate before, who will avoid answering the question, let alone the answer. Avoiding answering the question, let alone avoiding the question in the first place, as to whether they ever had a real estate license before. But that is the first question. Now, you're interviewing Bob, and indeed Bob has had a real estate license. Okay, go Bob. So now you're going to move on to the second question. And the second question is, Bob, have you sold 100 homes in a year? Now, why is that an important question? Because it's not easy to do. Selling 100 homes in a year in any market, at any price range, is a big deal. It means you had to have been very intensely focused and frankly working at a high level for at least 12 months, right? Can we all agree to that? Selling 100 homes in a year is an accomplishment. Selling 100 houses in a year is, I think, a peak for a lot of real estate professionals. Julie and I did it in our first full year selling real estate, by the way, in our early 20s, but we'll get to that in a second. So let's say Bob, indeed, has sold 100 homes in a year. But here's the secondary question that you need to be focusing in on. Were Bob's 100 homes that he sold in that year a bunch of lots or a building? Like Julie and I are invested right now in some syndication of condos in, where are they? Austin?
And the DC area.
Yeah, in the DC area. Excuse me. And in those areas, they're building, I think, altogether something like 100 different condos. Well, if I were to be the listing broker of all those and get the listing, let's just say the ones in Austin, which I think there's like 50, and I were to list all 50 and sell all 50. Well, I did sell, 50 transactions. I did do 50 deals, but it was essentially one seller. It was one listing relationship. That's good. It's great. Nothing wrong with that, obviously, but that's not the same as what you're probably going to have to do, which is working with a bunch of individual sellers and individual buyers. So when Bob says that he sold 100 homes in a year, make sure Bob proves that he sold 100 homes in a year. You can look in the MLS. It's all public data. And secondary data point, you need to make sure that it wasn't just a big subdivision or, that sort of thing, because it does matter. Okay, now let's go on to question number 3. Ready? This is where we're really going to sort Bob out, by the way. Mm-hmm. Question number 3, Bob. Okay, great. You've had a license. You sold 100 homes in a year. You've made it past the first, 2 filters. The third question is, Bob, have you sold 100 homes in a year for at least 5 years in a row? Now, that is going to take 99.9% of all, air quoting again, real estate coaches completely off the field, because I don't personally know, with the exception of one, other than Julie and I, who's actually done that. I do not know of a single real estate coach. And if any of you real estate coaches out there meet all 3 of those criteria, then let me know, and I'll certainly give you credit. But I do know that in the industry right now, people that are real estate coaches, who frankly I think are legitimate real estate coaches, there's probably only 3 or 4 of us. That's it. because the rest are just fakey dudes. They're people that basically have never sold real estate before, or if they did, they never sold real estate for a long period of time, or they never sold real estate at a high level, but they are good presenting on YouTube, or they're good at basically, making you believe there's something that they're not, which is, part and parcel of, I think, a lot of what's been happening in social media. Sure. But that aside. Now, the fourth question, and this is the question that is perhaps the most important question. So Bob has indeed had a license. Bob has sold 100 homes in a year. Ooh, Bob actually sold 100 homes for 5 years in a row. Now, the fourth question is, Bob, you're amazing. I love you. You sound so far so good. I'm getting out my credit card. I'm going to sign up for Bob's coaching. But before I do, Bob, let me ask you this last question. Have you actually personally done over 100,000 paid coaching calls? Now, here's what you're going to hear if asked that question. Bob will, and you'll see this of the YouTube coaches, by the way, they'll try to, like a politician, they're going to try to sort of grease the question. They're going to try to reframe the question. They're going to not want to answer the question because the answer to the question, the only answer to the question is going to be no. Now, they will say, I've had 100,000 views on YouTube.
I've presented to X number of agents.
Exactly. Or this, that, and the other. They have not actually provided over 100,000 paid one-on-one coaching calls. Why does paid matter? Because being in front of an audience that isn't paying, doing a bunch of office events or whatever else, is not the same as coaching. That's training, you see? Why 100,000? Because if you've done 100,000 paid coaching calls, and generally speaking, coaching calls are, they're pretty expensive sometimes. You are looking at somebody who's the market's tested. A coach is not going to have had a bunch of people pay him a bunch of money or her over a period of time if they weren't worth paying for. You guys get it? So this person's market tested. So the four filters are, have you had a license? Yes. Move on to question 2. Have you sold at least 100 homes in a year? If yes, move to question 3. Have you sold at least 100 homes in a year for at least 5 years in a row? Move on to question 4. Have you provided at least 100,000 paid coaching calls? And, it could be over 10 years or 15 years. If the answer is yes, you probably have somebody who's actually a legit real estate coach. Now, I want you to ask yourself a question. If you are hiring a doctor, if you are hiring anybody to provide you critical life information that you are going to follow, that hopefully at the end of it's going to vastly improve your future, wouldn't you want to have at least someone that meets at least those 4 criteria? Those are the minimum criteria. I mean, you've got to actually kind of like the person. There's other things you want to factor into it. And yes, of course, Julie and I meet all those 4 criteria. We exceed all of them. We sold between 100 and 200 homes per year for about 10 years. We've provided way more than 100,000 paid coaching calls. The list goes on and on.
We stopped counting a while ago.
And we have a lot of coaches that work for us. We have, what I'm told is the largest coaching organization in the United States. I have no idea if it's true or not. #1 daily podcast. So in the industry right now, I don't think there's anybody more qualified than Julie and I and our coaches at our organization provide real estate coaching. And again, the point is, the big takeaway should be a real estate coach and real estate training are massively, massively different. Training is what you get for free. Well, you're getting training right now, frankly. This is not coaching. Do not think this is coaching. It is not. Training is what you get when you watch a video or attend a conference or, that type of thing. Coaching is when you have somebody that's actually working with you on a high level to actually figure out your strengths and your weaknesses, help you to really drill down, figure out exactly what you need to be doing to make it so you move down the road faster. That's the reason that the best agents in the nation always have real estate coaches, because you always need somebody that's going to be looking over your shoulder for little ways oftentimes to vastly improve your results. Point number 4.
That's right. So coaching will not actually manufacture motivation for you. Some of you think that, the coach's job is to just magically make you motivated all the time. But a great coach will help you find and maintain a higher level of motivation. That's done by helping you develop new skills and confidence, which allow you to achieve more success in less time than you could or would do on your own. A great coach instills in you the discipline of doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level, but helps you to achieve that faster and more consistently than you can on your own, so you get the results that you're looking for.
That's right. I mean, really, at the end of the day, there's an old, what's that story about? Was it Tiger? It wasn't Tiger Woods. It was, the Olympic swimmer. Do you remember that guy?
Michael Phelps?
Oh, Julie, good job. On her game today.
Trying.
So Michael Phelps, he has a real estate coach. Well, he might. He has a swimming coach. So just condensing the story, you guys have heard this. It was actually a 60-minute story too. So he would show up every single day in preparation to be in the Olympics. And he's been in the Olympics more than once, obviously, won more than once, at 4 a.m. And they, kind of did this whole expose on his life and the whole thing. And here, when he walked into this, very dark, I guess would be
natatorium
or whatever it would be. Thank you. Yeah. There's the coach standing in the corner, watching him swim back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The same coach he's always had. And this coach knows Michael's every movement, knows whether or not you can tell how Michael feels based on how he's swimming. It's that sort of intimate, high level of a relationship. A real estate coach is going to hear your voice inflections, maybe in a video conference, going to look at your face. It's going to know essentially really how involved you are, how locked in, how knowledgeable you are, how skilled you are. Well, if you're watching somebody swim, obviously you're looking for the little nuanced movements. Now, after a while, and it was after his first Olympics and he won all those gold medals, he actually fired that real estate coach. It didn't
Swimming coach.
Right. He didn't have a real estate coach. He said, I don't need a coach right now. I'm good. I got it. And then that's when, if you guys will remember correctly, he started to really, it was all over the news. Oh, Michael Phelps caught with drugs. I think it was marijuana. Michael Phelps is this. Michael, all these problems he started. And then his life started to fall off the, deep end. No pun intended. I think there was another Olympics where he didn't win anything. There's something else that happened.
He started to struggle.
Right. And then he rehired that real estate coach. Listen to me. He rehired that same coach. And then guess what happened? He went back to the level that he was operating at before. That's the type of high level coaching that you must insist upon if you're planning on getting really great at real estate coaching or real estate, let alone any other skill in your life, whether it be tennis, whether it be just anything. You need to skip the line and actually hire someone that's been there, done that, and don't just go off their marketing and their videos and whatever. Actually validate what they're telling you and be incredibly particular who you listen to, because if somebody gives you you're supposed to make 10 videos per day, become the mayor of your town. If you actually believe all that stuff and you never develop skills and never really learn how to actually do a backstroke correctly, right? Tying everything together, how are you ever going to win, let alone, frankly, survive in this business? This business does not suffer fools. So lessen the likelihood of losing and essentially buy a hedge, an insurance policy, and look for a really fantastic coach that's going to get you there. Point number 5.
Point number 5, coaching is holding you accountable to actually achieving that success. A great coach has a deep understanding of what you need to do and in what order you need to do it, just like Michael Phelps' coach intimately knew his every move, his strengths and weaknesses. Holding you accountable for incremental successes ultimately gets you to your desired outcome faster. What happens with agents, I know you know this, Tim, is they'll say they've got this huge goal, right? And they'll decide, well, if I don't get, massively closer to that this week, I must be failing. Versus the coach that says, in order to get there, we have to have these incremental successes, getting you to a consistent 2 deals a month for 90 days versus saying you got to get to 50 deals this year or you stink, right? So it's those incremental successes.
Oftentimes when I've done personal, when I had a lot of production coaching, I was doing 10 to 12 calls a day. The greatest value I would bring to a coaching call wouldn't be raw, feel good mindset, malarkey. It would truly be looking for the tiniest little things that they did or didn't say. Like, okay, you didn't take a listing or you didn't set an appointment. And they would maybe have a recording of the call so I could go back and with them help them understand where what they could have done differently. That's what really great coaching is. It's very rarely anything that involves a high level of emotion. It's actually a very focused, drilled down, concentrated effort to look for ways that you can improve faster. Again, the people that think coaching is just about motivation and rah and walk on coals, that's not coaching. That's just essentially an emotional caffeine hit that comes and it goes. A really great coach is going to help you to really look into why is it that when you were on that phone, you didn't set that appointment with that motivated seller? Why is it that you didn't take that listing? Or why is it that you got the listing, but you didn't actually get the price or the commission that you otherwise would have? These things are part and parcel of the forward progress that anybody who's serious about becoming the best version of themselves as a real estate practitioner, they have to follow this process. And by the way, Premier Coaching is the backbone for even our one-on-one coaching. So keeping that in mind, let's move forward, Julie, to point number 6.
All right, point number 6. Our final point for today. A great coach will also support you even on your toughest days in real estate. Not that you ever have those, right? That coach will help you identify if your skills were the issue, and if so, how to correct course. A great real estate coach will sometimes tell you that it was not actually you and that you should stop beating yourself up. Maybe the failure was simply you didn't pre-qualify somebody and they're never going to transact, and that was the simple mistake. Don't do it again. It just depends. That's what a great coach is going to find. They're going to have your back so that you have more confidence, especially in a shifting market. We're having so many calls like that right now. A great real estate coach looks into your future 30, 60, 90 days so that you'll take action faster and keep ahead of the market trends. Make yourself more competitive and gain success faster than you would on your own. So you covered that other point with your 4 filters. So you guys listening have a decision to make. Are you going to continue to struggle, to try and reinvent the wheel, to try and utilize, free quote, air quote coaching that you find on YouTube? Or are you going to take your business that much more seriously, hire a professional coaching organization, whether that means that you're going to join Premier Coaching or be one of our elite one-on-one clients? Your decision should be made today. You don't have time to waste. What are you going to do?
Beth, that's absolutely the bottom line. And really, this is applicable to anybody, whether you're a part-time agent or whether you're somebody who's already, selling hundreds of homes per year. You absolutely positively want to have somebody in your life that's not going to try to fake friend you, that's going to give you critical drill down information, that's going to, tactfully and professionally correct course when you're off course. And it really, real estate coaching, obviously, we're going to focus on making you really great at selling real estate, but that transfers, that skill set and mindset transfers to all aspects of your life. And I'll tell you something else. It should have been another filter. You want to look for a real estate coach, any kind of coach that's not complacent. If you're going to the gym and you're going to hire someone to help you get in shape, you want to look for the coach that's actually in the best shape themselves. Right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that is something that I look for when I am considering a personal trainer. Like, do they look like they know what they're doing? Do they practice what they preach? Are they active, or are they kind of semi-retired and doing this part-time as a side hustle?
It's funny, when I was doing that 4 filters thing, it's just intuitive. Everyone knows what I just said was true. Like, when you and I were looking for someone to remove Zoe's tonsils, we were researching. The hospital's saying this is the doctor. That's not the doctor. We're going to look for a doctor.
Because of course they're going to say that.
Exactly. Yeah. And okay, this is who you're going to use. Well, I don't necessarily think, the doctor she ended up having was somebody who basically has done 1 billion tonsils and the whole thing. We are very critical. Are you guys that critical when you're looking for medical professionals? Yes, of course you are. Are you that critical when you're thinking about joining a brokerage and having somebody that's going to be giving you business information? Are you that critical when you're thinking about, this YouTube coach just said this sounds like a good information, I just go ahead and do that? Are you actually running that advice through any sort of filtering process so you don't go down the wrong path? Here's the thing you got to take into consideration. Unless you have a limited amount of money and a limited amount of time, you don't have time to experiment. If you're not serious about real estate, frankly, if you're not serious about whatever you claim to be serious about. For example, if you say, I want to learn tennis, but then you just show up every day and you start hitting the ball, you've never played tennis before, you don't know what the heck you're doing at all. You're not serious about learning how to play tennis. You're just going through the mental, exercise of saying, it didn't work for me. I tried it. I tried tennis. It wasn't for me. You know as well as I do that if you were actually serious about learning to play tennis, you'd walk up to the club. You'd say, who are your trainers? And then you'd look for each of the trainers and you'd run through your own filters and you'd look for the best one. Now, here's where some of you are going to fall off this mindset. You're going to say, I can't afford coaching. And frankly, some of you can't. That's absolutely true. And you shouldn't be signing up if you can't. And, that's the reason, frankly, the entry door for our coaching organization is free, right? Premier Coaching, you can join Premier Coaching for free. It doesn't cost you anything. You get 30 days of Premier Coaching. Now, Premier Coaching is group call coaching. It is semi-private group call coaching. It's not one-on-one coaching, but it is a perfect way for you to get started understanding the difference between training and coaching. And when you do join Premier Coaching, and the links are in the description of the show below, along with our show notes, you will get immediate access to all the information on level 1, including, by the way, 5 daily semi-private coaching calls per week. So you can attend our Harris certified coaches providing their premier coaching sessions, 1 per day. And by the way, I think we're going to be increasing to 2 per day. We're working towards making it so that you guys get 2 coaching calls per day, not just 1. So hopefully you can pull that off in the next few months. But in the meanwhile, do join Premier Coaching. It doesn't cost you anything. Scroll down, click the link, join now. It's free. And I please do take this seriously. Because look, I have had over the last 20 years of doing this, right? Julie and I have been in the industry for 25 years. We've been married for 32 years. But I have had so many, calls, texts, whatever, with people who are coming to us, having listened to this podcast. Maybe they heard Julie and I speak back whenever, or read our book. Somehow they've crossed paths with us, but they didn't listen. They decided, well, I'm going to hit the easy button. I'm going to do the marketing. I'm going to buy leads. I'm going to do branding. I'm going to do all this other stuff. And then, despite the fact that we told them how to formulate their business, right? Proactive lead generation first, then passive, which is all the other stuff I just rattled off. They didn't listen because they figured, well, I never have to learn sales skills because if I generate enough leads from my social media, from my marketing and my advertising, the business will just rain in on me. I mean, isn't that the belief that a lot of you guys have? How's that working out for you? I mean, I'm asking that sarcastically, but I think we both know that fact is it doesn't work. And now you're learning that it doesn't work. And then, you're going to try it for a year or two more. You're absolutely positively going to make that marketing and branding work. After all, everyone tells you it works. And then it doesn't work, then you don't make any money. Maybe you get occasional deals here and there, but it barely pays for the money you're spending on this marketing and advertising venture, right? Sound familiar, listeners? Then you're going to contact Julie and I, and then you're going to say, I wish I would have listened to you in the first place. And then you're going to say, I wish I would have listened to you in the first place. I just imagine where I would be right now in my career had I listened to you. That's the sad conversation that I don't want to have with any of you. I am so damn tired of having that conversation with people who wish they would have listened to us. Because, intuitively when you listen to this podcast, tens of thousands of you do every day, what we're telling you is the truth, right? What we're telling you is the truth. And oftentimes the truth is not that exciting. Oftentimes the truth is certainly not a shiny object. Oftentimes the truth is about doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level for long periods of time. But that is the truth. If you want to get good at anything, it's going to take a lot of repetitious boredom. That is just the nature of how everything works. You think Michael Phelps wants to show up at the pool every day at 4:30? But full circle here, guys. A lot of you aren't really that serious about what you're trying to accomplish in life, let alone real estate. You would never in a billion years show up at the pool at 4 a.m., let alone have a coach there, watching your every movement and criticizing and making sure you're doing it correctly. A lot of you don't want that level of accountability because you're just not that serious. And you know what? That's okay. That's, I'm not going to try to convince you to think or act differently. There's no point in that. Coaching is not for everybody. Coaching is for the people that have already decided that they're tired of waiting, tired of being complacent. They're tired of essentially having that omnipresent feeling in their souls that they're letting their best years of their lives get by them. And they they have to do something about it. They're tired of knowing that they could do better and they haven't. Or maybe they're really, really successful and everyone, basically sees them as the best of the best, but they want to go to the next level. They're bored, frankly. They want to know what's on the other side of being the best of the best. That's when you hire a coach. And then don't fire the coach when you hire the coach. Find a coach that you can grow with over a long period of time, and that will save you so much effort. And guys, here's the thing. Julie and I sold real estate at a high level for a long period of time. And we've coached for even longer now. And I am here to tell you that coaching, certainly at a high level like we have, is 1,000 times harder than it is ever selling real estate. But it's also incredibly rewarding because you get to be part of people's lives. We have coaching clients that have been coaching clients between 15 years, 17 years. We have coaching clients who, there's a couple of them now that we've had for, I think one of them has been like 18 years. Their kids are going off to college. I mean, that's kind of incredible. But we've been part of their lives, and they've certainly been part of ours for all that amount of time. And I think to a person, they're all multimillionaires. There's a reason the best, most successful everybody, whether it be an actor or whether it be anybody in life who's serious about achieving more things quicker, they always hire coaches. I do. Julie does. We always have. It just makes sense. Why would you bother trying to figure it out on your own? It's just a waste of time. So we made it easy for you. Just join Premier Coaching. The link is in the show description. Some of you are going to be interested in hiring Julie as your own, elite coach. That's our highest form of coaching. And if you think that is for you, you can text me directly and I'll coordinate a conversation where you can interview Julie and she can interview you. 512-758-0206. And if you're interested in having Julie privately coach you and you text me at 512-758-0206, please do include a little bit of background information in that initial text so we can hit the ground running with our conversation, okay? So again, it's 512-758-0206. Everybody else, the simplest path forward right now, the thing that makes the most sense, it's obvious, is joining Premier Coaching. So click the link in the show description. In the meantime, guys, thank you for allowing Julie and I to serve our highest and truest purpose in this planet, which is being service to all of you as real estate coaches. It is our absolute pleasure and honor to be part of your lives. Honestly, guys, it is incredibly fulfilling to be in this position after this amount of time where we have seen the long-term effects of our consistency with regards to providing information like this on this podcast, but our coaching clients and the rest of it. Seeing how some of you have taken the information, thousands obviously, have taken this information that we have laboriously honed and, really worked our lives on to try to perfect for all of you our Premier Coaching system, and see you build these incredible businesses and these incredible lives is so rewarding. I can't even describe it. It's almost unreal when we get a message from a longtime coaching client, or they send us a picture of their daughter who we remember being born, which has just happened, graduating from college, or, all these other things. We have somebody right now who's on a mission, I think in Africa or something, that's helping to build a school that took the whole month off because of the fact that they followed our coaching program. They were able to obviously get themselves financially to the point where they can have that level of freedom. All these types of things. That is really what is the big payoff for us at this point in our careers, is the benefits that we're able to provide to all of you. We are living in alignment with our highest and truest purpose, which is being of service to others, and the others that we have chosen to be of service to are all of you. So thank you for allowing us to do that. In the meantime, you guys have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you on the show tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.